Breaking news: JerryYan and Tong Liya confirm marriage. Fly his entire family to the UK for unforgettable vacation. A love story hidden in plain sight finally comes to light in the most spectacular way. In a shocking yet heartwarming revelation that has taken fans by storm, Taiwanese heartthrob JerryYan, 48, and Chinese actress Tong Liya, 41, have confirmed their secret 10-year marriage. And in typical Yan style, it was not done with a press conference or media statement. Instead, the couple made the announcement while vacationing with Jerry's entire family in the English countryside, where they renewed their vows in an intimate but mind-blowing ceremony that has already become legendary. The story reads like a romance film. Only it's real. And now the truth is finally out. We've been married since 2015. The truth behind the silence. For years, rumors swirled around the two stars. Paparazzi caught fleeting photos, and fans speculated after noticing subtle similarities in their social media posts. Matching sunsets, shared quotes, overlapping travel dates, but both remained silent. But today, with their families surrounding them and the English sun casting golden light over a sprawling estate in the Cotswolds, Jerry and Tong Liya looked into the cameras and said, "We've been married since 2015. We just wanted it to be ours for a little while longer." Tong Liya, dressed in a flowing ivory linen gown, smiled as she held Jerry's hand. "We chose peace over noise. Love over headlines." Scene 1. Arrival at Heathrow, a family affair. It all began last week when JerryYan and 11 members of his extended family, including his elderly mother, 3 cousins, and his sister's children, arrived at Heathrow Airport on a private jet. British tabloids picked up the trail when multiple luxury vans and bodyguards escorted the family to a private countryside villa, rumored to be owned by a European royal. At first, fans assumed it was just a lavish family holiday. But the presence of Tong Liya, who had arrived earlier and was seen instructing florists and event planners at the estate, gave away something deeper. Still, no one guessed the magnitude of what was about to unfold. Scene 2. The secret vow renewal in the English garden. At sunset on August 1st, under an arched trellis of white roses and wisteria, Jerry and Tong Liya renewed their vows in front of his entire family, and just 5 invited friends. The ceremony was officiated by a retired British judge, a close family friend of the estate's owner. No media, no paparazzi, just vows whispered beneath the wind, and the sound of a string quartet playing Yuruma's "River Flows in You." Tong Liya's vows were poetic. 10 years ago, I promised to walk beside you quietly. 10 years later, I want to walk with you boldly. Under stars, under storms, under skies foreign and familiar. You are my home. Jerry's were raw and emotional. From the first moment I saw you on stage, I knew I'd never walk alone again. Every year I've kept it a secret felt like holding my breath. Today I breathe freely with you. Scene 3. An estate lit by love and fireworks. After the vows, the estate came alive. A Michelin-starred chef curated a 5-course menu served under vintage chandeliers suspended from trees. The dinner ended with a champagne toast led by Jerry's mother, who stood and said through happy tears, "He waited so long to find peace. And now he has it." Just when guests thought the night had peaked, a surprise fireworks show exploded over the estate. But these weren't ordinary fireworks. Each burst formed symbols meaningful to the couple. A piano key, Jerry's love for music, a silhouette of a dancer, Tong Liya's early ballet roots, and finally 2 intertwined hearts with the number 10 inside. As the guests clapped, Jerry kissed Tong Liya softly, whispering, "We did it our way." Scene 4. A decade of hidden love. Clues the public missed. Following the announcement, social media detectives sprang into action. And the findings are blowing people's minds. In 2016, Jerry was seen in Paris buying a ring from Chaumet. The woman with him wore a wide hat. A blurry photo reveals it was Tong Liya. In 2018, Tong Liya dedicated her film award to "The Man Who Teaches Me Silence is Strength." Fans now believe she was talking about Jerry. In 2020, both posted a photo on New Year's from different locations. But the wallpaper and a chandelier in the background match. In a 2022 interview, Jerry was asked what love meant to him. His response: "It means dancing in the quiet and still hearing music." Now it all makes sense. Scene 5. Afternoon tea with the Queen's butler. 2 days after the vow renewal, the couple and Jerry's family were spotted enjoying traditional afternoon tea at Claridge's in London, with service provided by a former butler of Queen Elizabeth II. Tong Liya wore a subtle diamond ring that fans are calling the hidden crown, while Jerry sported a bracelet inscribed with their initials, J+L Infinity. Guests at the hotel report the family looked effortlessly elegant and intimately bonded. Children played on the plush sofas while Jerry served his mother tea, gently placing a shawl over her shoulders. One staff member shared, "You could feel how much love this man has for his family. He wasn't just a star. He was a son, a husband, and a protector." Scene 6. A stroll through Hyde Park that broke the internet. On Sunday morning, the couple was seen walking hand in hand through Hyde Park in matching beige coats. No bodyguards, no entourage. Fans who spotted them were stunned. One teen girl ran up to Jerry crying, "You taught me what real love is." Tong Liya took the girl's hand and said, "Always wait for love that calms your storm." Photos from the stroll have gone viral, now dubbed the Hyde Park fairy tale. Scene 7. What comes next? Though their secret has now been revealed, Jerry and Tong Liya aren't looking for fanfare. A close friend told reporters they're planning to spend another 2 weeks in the UK, visiting Wales, then the Scottish Highlands. Jerry's mom loves nature, and Tong Liya wants her to see the Northern Lights. They're keeping it simple but meaningful. There are whispers of a documentary in the works, a reflective piece on love, silence, and freedom, but nothing has been confirmed. Final words. The kind of love that waits. In an era of loud romances and fleeting scandals, JerryYan and Tong Liya's story is a masterclass in love's quiet power. 10 years of devotion, carried in silence. 10 years of memories made away from cameras. 10 years of proving that not all beautiful things need to be broadcasted. Now, as the world finally hears their truth, fans are cheering, not because they're shocked, but because they always believed. Scene 1. The final night before the truth, a conversation beneath the stars. It was July 30th, the night before JerryYan's family was scheduled to board the private flight to the UK. At 2 a.m., on the rooftop of their villa in Taipei, Jerry and Tong Liya sat barefoot on woven rugs, sipping hot ginger tea, wrapped in the warm hush of midnight. "I think I'm ready," Jerry whispered, his voice thick with nerves. Tong Liya looked at him, eyes soft with history. "We've lived 10 years in a beautiful silence. Now let's live 10 more in our truth." There was a pause as the wind moved through her long black hair. She placed a hand over his heart. "They're going to love us. Because we loved each other first." The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was powerful. It was the calm before freedom. Scene 2. The flight of a lifetime. On the morning of July 31st, a Gulfstream G650ER, one of the most luxurious private jets in the world, taxied from a private hangar in Taipei. Inside, the cabin was transformed not just into a flying palace, but a symbolic start of a new chapter. Jerry had arranged for personalized welcome kits for each family member. Silk travel pillows embroidered with the words, "Yen Family Voyage," custom passport holders, and Polaroids from past family gatherings. His mother, Madame Yen, clutched her gift with tears in her eyes. "He used to travel alone for so long," she whispered to Tong Liya. "Now he's bringing us all." The couple sat quietly at the front of the jet, hands gently interlocked, while Tong Liya read a handwritten journal Jerry had kept, a decade of letters to her, never shown until now. October 2016. "I saw you fall asleep reading again. I wanted to take a photo, but it felt too sacred. You make silence feel like music." As the plane soared over the South China Sea and curved toward Europe, Jerry leaned into her shoulder. "This time I want the world to know what I've always known. You are my wife. And I am the luckiest man alive." Scene 3. Touchdown in elegance. Their English arrival. The private jet landed discreetly at RAF Nordholt Airport, away from the media glare of Heathrow. Waiting for them on the tarmac were 4 vintage black Rolls-Royces, each manned by a chauffeur dressed in traditional British livery. Their destination: Beckham Manor, a sprawling 18th-century estate hidden deep in the Cotswolds, loaned to them by an old friend of the British aristocracy. Tong Liya had personally curated the decorations in advance, a blend of Eastern minimalism and English romance, with delicate lotus lanterns floating on the garden pond and willow branches draped in string lights. As Jerry's family stepped into the grand hall with marble floors and antique tapestries, a young niece gasped, "This looks like a storybook." Tong Liya, ever graceful, turned to Jerry's mother and said, "This home is yours for as long as you want it to be." Scene 4. A sunset picnic that sparked tears. That evening, before the grand vow renewal, the entire family was treated to a surprise by Jerry. A sunset picnic on the estate's western lawn, with handmade bento boxes containing recipes passed down from his grandmother. Tong Liya had spent the day helping chefs replicate the dishes: sweet soy duck, jasmine rice with goji berries, and chrysanthemum jelly. As the sun dipped low over the hills, painting the sky in lavender and gold, the family sat on plush rugs and antique cushions. Jerry opened a vintage suitcase and revealed old letters, drawings, and childhood photos, including one of him holding a paper ring he'd made at age 8, captioned, "For the woman I'll marry someday." Madame Yen placed a hand over her mouth. Tong Liya, emotional, kissed Jerry's forehead. "Even then you were waiting for me." Scene 5. Jerry's secret song, a serenade under the oak tree. As dusk settled, Jerry asked everyone to follow him to an old oak tree lit with dozens of hanging lanterns. A grand piano stood underneath it, surrounded by fresh lavender. "I wrote this 10 years ago, but I never played it for anyone," he said, voice trembling. Then, in front of his entire family, and Tong Liya seated beside his mother, Jerry performed an original piece titled 10 Autumns. The melody was haunting, beautiful, a story told in keys. Every note was a year, every chord a memory. At the final crescendo, the breeze lifted Tong Liya's veil as if nature itself was listening. When he finished, he turned toward her and said, "You've always been my music. I just needed time to learn how to play it right." Tears streamed down his sister's face. His nephews clapped, not quite understanding the weight, but feeling the magic in the air. And Tong Liya? She simply rose, walked to him, and kissed him like they were the only 2 souls in the world. Scene 6. A candlelit family dinner under the stars. After the music, dinner was served under the stars. Long tables with flowing linen, glass lanterns, and thousands of tea lights made the estate glow like a dream. The highlight of the night. Jerry raised a toast to Tong Liya in front of his entire family. "For 10 years she stood by me in quiet, through storms and spotlights, knowing full well what it meant to love a man with the world watching. She never demanded, never doubted, never deserted. She is not just my wife. She is my miracle." As glasses clinked and candles flickered, Madame Yen leaned to Tong Liya and whispered, "You've given him something I never could, rest." Scene 7. Why the world fell in love with them again. News of the vow renewal had just begun to leak. Fans were already outside Claridge's in London, hoping for a glimpse, but for the couple, it wasn't about fame anymore. They'd shared a moment that had taken 10 years of trust, faith, and silence.